Do you believe that you can heal yourself? Too often, we give our power away to something outside of ourselves, and rarely, if ever, trust and tap into our innate healing power and intuition. Everyone has this capability to heal in ways we never thought possible. It's your sovereign right to claim and have true health and lasting wellness. Now, here is the host of the Dr. Dolores Show, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in our amazing universe. And welcome to another episode of the Dr. Dolores Show. And I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, your host. And we're on Inspired Choices Network. So I am doing a series, a 5-part series. And today we're going to be in part 2. And the series is called Becoming Your Own Best Friend, a self-discovery series. And last week we talked about being authentic. They were talking about the foundational groundwork about being authentic. And this week we're talking about cultivating compassion. I think for many people, we're really good at being nice to other people and extending the olive branch and being, we're kinder to other people than sometimes we are to ourselves. And so I felt the need to put together these 5-part series to give people the foundational nitty gritty as what's really important and what could assist you in becoming, laying the foundational piece for becoming your own best friend. So in today's episode, I'm going to put my little glasses on so I could read. Join us for episode 2 of our 5-part series on becoming your own best friend, a self-discovery series. Today's topic is cultivating compassion. And what we're going to do is talk about practical exercises, insightful discussions at cultivating compassion for ourselves. A lot of times we're good at being compassionate for other people, but sometimes we lack that for ourselves. And it's really about embracing that and treating yourself as if you would treat your best friend. You are going to start becoming your own best friend. Because remember, people, the longest relationship you're ever going to have in your life is the one you have with yourself, bar none. It's crazy to think about that, but when you think about it from that perspective, it's really a game changer. So, when you're able to grasp that knowledge and really, embrace that, it's going to create a lot more magic in your life. So, when we talk about self compassion and stuff like that, um, cultivating compassion teaches us importance of self kindness and forgiveness. And some of the things we need to know about being compassionate is this. Sometimes people say self compassion is self indulgence, and it really is not. It's actually a very foundational piece to pretty much who we are. Um, when you don't take care of yourself, nobody else is going to do it for you. If you aren't kind to yourself, nobody's going to really be kind to you because let's face it, everything starts with us first. And I know that's a hard thing for some people to grasp, but self-care, self-love, self-appreciation, the common denominator is self. It all starts with us first. It's like when we are being those things for ourselves, it's an energy. And so it's happening inside of us. So when we go out into the world, what we are on the inside is going to be mirrored back to us on the outside. Think about that. So if you're a person who is very fearful and angry, you're going to probably attract a lot of people who are fearful and angry. If you're a person who is compassionate, it's self-compassionate, you respect yourself, you're compassionate, you're you love yourself, guess what? You're going to be attracting that same energy on the outside. You're going to find more and more people who are more respectful, they are loving, because this is who you are. Your radiance or your energy is rippling out from the inside. A lot of times people think that everything happens on the outside of them. In fact, yes, it does. It's actually a reflection of what's happening on the inside of yourself. So if you're not liking what you're witnessing or seeing on your external, I invite you to take a step and come within yourself and to look at the possibilities of what may be there and those gold nuggets that you might uncover to embrace who you are. So, like I said, it's not self-indulgence. Self-compassion um, is a necessity. Often people mistake self-compassion for self-indulgence or self-pity. It is not that. Self-compassion is about treating oneself with the same kindness and understanding one would offer to a close friend in times of struggle. And in this day and age that we are in a lot of struggle. So, and a lot of people are going through many bumps in the road, and it is what it is. And sometimes give yourself the grace of just being compassionate to yourself. Compassion builds resilience. When we practice compassion, we enhance our resilience in the face of adversity. It improves our mental health. Research has shown that when self compassion is strongly linked to the lower levels of anxiety, depression, and stress. So, if you don't have a lot of compassion for yourself, you're going to probably have more anxiety, depression, and stress. Treating oneself with kindness and understanding, individuals can manage their emotions and cultivate a more positive outlook on life. And it all starts with us on the inside. Once again, it's about how you are feeling, how you are being that is creating your reality. The other thing that's important too, as far as self kindness and forgiveness, is the act of forgiveness, which is very liberating. Forgiving oneself for past mistakes and shortcomings is a powerful act of self compassion. Holding on to grudges and self blame can weigh heavily on one's mental health and hinder personal growth. It almost keeps you stuck. It keeps you stuck in the loop, and it's and it perpetuates. It continues to grow and perpetuate. The law of attraction comes in here. Whatever you put your focus and attention on, you create more and more of that. And if you have any doubt about that in this time of day and age, I invite you to play with that. Think about something that you're not happy with and just hang on to it and hang on to it. And you're going to see your world really reflect that unhappiness, because it's an energy. You're focusing on it. What you focus on creates more of, either positive or negative. So I invite you to think of something more positive, like I am appreciative, I am loving, I am worthy, and continue to focus on that. The energy of the word, the vibration. What may come is that if you're in doubt of that, all your stuff is going to be up in your space, triggering you and trying to get your attention. I invite you not to ignore it, but just acknowledge, yes, thank you for being there. And I'm going to choose this. I'm going to choose to be kind. I'm going to choose to be loving. I am going to choose to be worthy. And as you continue to focus on those words, they have a vibration and a frequency with them that are higher vibrating than anger, stress, and fear. And what you put your attention on, once again, you're going to create more and more and more of that. So I invite you to be aware of where you're going. Don't go down the rabbit hole of fear, lack, and whatever you might be going, because you're going to it's going to perpetuate, and you're going to create more and more of that, and you don't want to do that. This is something that you could easily shift. Okay. um and forgiveness, just be kind to yourself. Give yourself the grace of forgiveness. We all have made mistakes, trust me. We label them as mistakes. I kind of tend to label them as growth opportunities because it allows your soul to grow at a deep and profound level. It's just a growth opportunity. And maybe it wasn't your stellar best. So if you're a perfectionist, I invite you to give yourself some slack and just realize, okay, you're doing the best you can. And there's going to be another opportunity to redeem yourself. It enhances relationships, being able to be compassionate with yourself and to be able to be compassionate in general. What we mean by enhancing relationships, we are able to extend compassion and empathy to others. By fostering a sense of inner peace and contentment, self compassionate individuals can cultivate healthier and more fulfilling relationships with those around them. Let's face it, it's nice to be around people who feel good. They have good vibes, they have good energy. This is who they are, the essence of who they are. It reflects out from the inside, and it just rolls, out of them. I'm sure we all have known people who, when you walk in the room, you just see them and you just gravitate towards them because you just feel so much better hanging out with them or being around them. They really kind of amplify, and it's an energy of just acceptance and compassion and just feeling good. You feel good in their presence. That's what we want to be focusing on because it's important to allow ourselves to be worthy of receiving that and having that for ourselves. Yes, cultivating compassion does require practice. Like any skill, it's a muscle that needs to be exercised. And it takes time and practice. So don't expect things to be happening and running smoothly, instantly. They can. And in reality, they may not. And it doesn't mean that, it's not happening for you. It's a process. It's a skill. The more you do it, the more better you're going to get at that. And so just be patient, allow yourself that grace, and just continue to take baby steps if necessary. And like we were talking about perfection, it's not at all being about perfection. Trust me on that. For those of us who are recovering perfectionists, hi there. I'm in that club too. Sometimes we feel like it's got to be perfect or I'm not going to do it. And that's like a decision to be resistant almost. It's like defiance, but resistance, but it's also waiting for the perfect moment. I have news flash for you. There's never going to be a perfect moment. It's never going to be perfect. It's going to be messy. And you know what? It's okay. And, if you're going to worry about it being a perfectionist type of thing, just know that we have to be compassionate with ourselves about that. It's about having a lot of grace. And, most importantly, too, if you're having really, some challenges around this, sometimes practicing self compassion and forgiveness can be challenging, especially during times of very deep emotional distress, such as maybe there's been a traumatic experience or, a huge loss or a huge betrayal or abandonment, whatever that is. Sometimes we just needed some added support. And so, support from friends, your family, or other professionals, they can provide you with guidance and encouragement as well. So, what are some of the things that can foster cultivating compassion? Are some of the things. Some of the things are really important to look at. Some key strategies to cultivate compassion are mindfulness. We talk about a lot of mindfulness on the Dr. Dolores show because it really is about being mindful. Because when you are mindful, believe it or not, you're actually in your physical body. Being mindful are those things that we do, things that we experience that, they may be a craft, a hobby, it might be even running for some people, where you get in the zone where you lose track of all sense of time and space. It's like, for an example, you might be doing a jigsaw puzzle and 4 hours go by and it seems like time was in a snap. Those are examples of mindful activities. So when we come back from our break, we're going to talk more about some of the things that you can do to help foster cultivating compassion in your life. And right now, you're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we're on Inspired Choices Network. So see you when we come back from our break.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. You're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. And this week we are talking about becoming your own best friend, a self-discovery series, and we're covering the topic of cultivating compassion. For many of us, that's a real challenge because we're really kind to other people, and sometimes we don't extend that same kindness to ourselves. We have a tendency to beat ourselves up and make things really challenging for ourselves and do things to us that we wouldn't even consider doing to a stranger, let alone your best friend. But yet here we are trying to learn how to become our own best friend, because once again, the longest relationship you're ever going to have in your life is the one you have with yourself. So before our break, we were talking about some of the things that are important in regards to uh, self-compassion, and and it's about some of the things that allow us to cultivate compassion with ourselves. And we talked about forgiveness and how it enhances our relationships, and how it builds resilience and it improves your mental health. And we were also talking about why it's important to do this, but also how you could do this. And right before break, we talked about mindfulness. And like I was sharing before we said, we had our break in the last segment, mindfulness is huge. If you're able to stay in the present moment, this is like your superpower, because this is all that matters right here, right now, in the present moment. When you're in the present moment, that's the segue to feeling your emotions, but also connecting with your higher self and your inner wisdom, your intuition, all the same thing. This is where you're able to reflect and also take into consideration different things, and sometimes it's where you get those epiphanies and those aha moments where everything just kind of falls together and aligns. When we talk about mindfulness, and later on in our third segment, we're going to do a little mindfulness meditation in regards to compassion. So hang on for the next segment because that's where we're going to go there. But self-reflection is important as well, because when you are wanting to foster cultivating compassion for yourself, it's about reflecting, self-reflection. It encourages you to engage in regular uh, reflection where you identify areas where they may be overly, you might be overly critical on yourself, or um, you have some guilt or resentment. So self-reflection is just taking a personal inventory of what's kind of going on with you, and answering the deeper questions of, okay, this is happening and why is that so? Just being curious like a child. Practicing gratitude is an important thing as well. When you cultivate a sense of gratitude for yourself, others shift to focus away from perceived shortcomings and grievances. Fostering a more compassionate and forgiving mindset allows you to really look deeper into what's happening and just finding those really good, juicy gold nuggets that are going to allow you to grow at a very deep level. Some exercises that are possibly that you can utilize for, encouraging self-compassion. It includes writing love letters to yourself. That sounds pretty interesting, I think. And this might be a stretch for some people, because when people aren't feeling the love for themselves, they might write some of they might not have, they may be at a loss for words. But I invite you just to, even if it's a couple of sentences, just write a letter. Dear self, love you today. I think you're beautiful. I think you're doing a great job. Those type of things, encouraging self-compassion. Um, and maybe even write a little note on a post-it. It's like, you're amazing, and just post it on your mirror in the bathroom. You see that all the time, or even on your computer or laptop. The other thing we talked about too is forgiveness, and forgiveness allows individuals to explore the concept and its benefits, as it can foster a culture of forgiveness. This may involve discussing the importance of letting go of resentment, practicing empathy towards oneself and others, and recognizing that forgiveness is a process rather than a one-time event. That's an important thing to remember. So many people think that, and maybe even feel that, if they do something once, one and done, I'm good. Well, I wish it worked that way, and it doesn't. It's a process. If we look at ourselves as multifaceted, but also with many, many layers, we're just peeling off layers and connecting the dots. And every time there's an opportunity for forgiveness, or being kind to somebody else, or doing something that you thought I thought I handled that, it gives you another opportunity to look at it from another perspective, but also another, I call it themes and variations, because same core issue, but you're getting different aspects of it, and you're getting to see different perceptions of what that is. The good news is that the more you do it, the easier it gets. Okay. It's like a skill that you're developing. And instead of it weighing you down and becoming more and more heavy, look at it from, okay, this is still happening. Be curious about it like a child, and just allow yourself to go to places and feel things that you probably didn't give yourself permission to do. Just give yourself permission to go deeper, to see what's really hiding underneath the hood of that situation. Um, I think the other thing that's important too is leading by example. Many of us are excellent role models. When we lead by example and we're modeling compassionate and forgiving behavior in our personal and professional interactions, it's very powerful. It's the feel. Remember, I talked a little bit earlier about the essence of who you are. And I think this is so important right now in our society because we're in huge paradigm shifts in all industries across the board. Those of us who are in leadership roles, educators or mentors, if who did, these people who've done this for you as well. When they demonstrate kindness, empathy, and forgiveness, they create an environment where these qualities are valued and practiced. And believe me, we're in a time where this really is to drive home, the nail. Uh, it's so important. It's so essential. It's just how cultures change. It's how organizations change. It's how we change on a bigger perspective. Also, creating safe spaces for vulnerability. When we're able to be compassionate with ourselves and compassionate with others, it's about fostering environments where not only yourself, but individuals feel safe to express their vulnerabilities and struggles without fear of judgment. This can help in the development of self compassion and self forgiveness. And it can be achieved through supportive relationships, open communication, and a culture of empathy and understanding. So, so, so important. Those two concepts really go hand in hand. And then about offering resources and support for other people and even yourself. There's a lot out there in this world, and I invite people to lean into where they are being drawn. Okay. If you're leaning into something, definitely go and explore that. Allow your inner wisdom to guide you to your next step. A lot of times we don't know what that next step might be. And if we just allow ourselves just to be, the universe will provide that lead for you. And I'll just share a personal thing that kind of happened the other day. I make it a habit for myself when I spend my prep time in the morning where I go into meditation and then I do a little personal journaling. I always put the date up there and I just put underneath there, show me my next step. I don't know what it is. And I was just sitting there, then all of a sudden I was checking my email, then all of a sudden came across a YouTube video that was about something that was happening we're going through eclipse season right now. It's April and we just had a lunar, solar, and we're going to have another lunar. And this astrologer just nailed everything that I needed to hear and more so, more so. And it was just allowing myself as I was leaning into that. Yeah, I could have been doing something else, but this was what I needed to do in that moment because that set the groundwork for the rest of my day, believe it or not. And I had a more pleasant day because of the wisdom and the knowledge that I gained from listening to that particular YouTube. So this is what I'm saying is like you just don't know what your next step may be. And you might jump from your being in your body into your head saying, oh my God, that's just a waste of time and ridiculous. Well, it could be, or it could not be. And I chose, well, let me go listen to this because I just, I'm leaning into this. And I did. And I'm glad I did. So I'm just going to remind you the importance of really trusting your intuition and leaning in to the things that are really important for your next steps, especially when it has to do with, um, cultivating compassion, especially for yourself. It's about having the grace and the wisdom, and I think with the grace comes the wisdom to know what is the right next step for you. So you've been listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, energy whisperer, and we're on the Inspired Choices Network, and we're getting ready for our break. So I'll see you when we come back.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. It's Dr. Dolores on the Dr. Dolores Show, and we've been talking about cultivating compassion as the second part of our 5-part series on becoming your own best friend, a discovery series. So before our breaks, we were talking about what things that being compassionate is, and what things that are not. And, for this segment, I think we're going to do a guided meditation. And it's a guided meditation to allow us to cultivate more compassion within ourselves. So if that's something that resonates with you, I invite you to find yourself a comfortable spot. And if you are driving or being distracted right now, I invite you could listen to this, but don't close your eyes or do any of the prompts, and listen to it later, where you could be in a safe environment. So, first of all, just find a comfortable spot. And I'm just going to invite you to just close your eyes and just take a few deep breaths in, inhaling deeply through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. With each exhale, allow any tension or tightness in your body to soften and release. And just allow your arms to rest comfortably in your lap or by your side if you're lying down. And allow your feet to rest comfortably on the floor and your bottom on the seat of the chair, and feel your back supported on the back of the chair. And just allow your breathing to return to its normal inhale and exhale patterning. There's nothing further to do. Now bring your awareness to your heart center, the area in the middle of your chest. Visualize a warm, golden light glowing softly at this center, radiating love and compassion. As you continue to breathe deeply, imagine this golden light expanding with each inhale, filling your chest and then spreading throughout your entire body. Feel its warmth and soothing energy enveloping you completely. Now, bring to mind someone you love deeply, someone for whom you feel great affection and care. Picture their face in your mind's eye, and with each inhale, send them wishes for happiness, peace, and well being. Feel the love and compassion you have for this person flowing freely from your heart center. Next, bring your awareness to yourself. Reflect on the fact that just like your loved one, you too deserve love, kindness, and compassion. With each inhale, direct these wishes inward towards yourself. Repeat silently to yourself. I am worthy of love and compassion. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I be free from suffering. I am worthy of love and compassion. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I be free from suffering. Allow these words to resonate within you, feeling their truth and warmth permeate your being. Now, expand your awareness to include all beings everywhere. Visualize the entire world bathed in the same golden light of compassion, connecting all living beings in a web of love and kindness. With each inhale, send out wishes for the well-beings of other beings. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free from suffering. Feel your heart opening wider and wider with each breath, embracing the interconnectedness of all life. Take a few more moments to bask in the feeling of compassion and interconnectedness. Know that you carry this loving energy within you wherever you go. When you're ready, gently bring back your awareness to your breath. Wiggle your fingers and toes and slowly open your eyes. Take a moment to notice how you feel after practicing this meditation and carry this sense of compassion and loving kindness with you as you go about your day. I hope you found this guided meditation helpful in cultivating compassion within yourself. And feel free to listen to this whenever you feel like you need to get a dose of self-compassion. So, how was that for everybody? I'm sensing a quiet peacefulness now. Hopefully, you are as well. There's something, I want to touch on in further detail. We had spoke earlier about the reflection of who we are on the inside being mirrored onto the outside. The question comes about, is it true that when we work on ourselves, the outward reflection is a testimonial to the healing we've experienced? I'm going to say yes, it is. There's authenticity and inner peace. Working on ourselves and undergoing healing can lead to a greater sense of authenticity and inner peace. And when we address our vulnerabilities and wounds, we become more genuine in our interactions and radiate a calm, welcoming presence to the others that others are drawn to. Okay. It's about creating a container, a vessel, if you want to call it, that allows those energies of authenticity and inner peace to be part of that. When sometimes we are bogged down with a lot of heavy things in our energy field or things that we are unconscious about that are wanting to be healed, but we don't have the awareness of it yet, those sometimes bog us down and take up valuable space in that vessel and container. It's like a lot of um, I'm going to just give the analogy. This just popped in my head. It's like almost going to the slums, okay, where all these things are heavy and dilapidated, and they're no longer necessary, but we're still hanging on to them. And once we clear out the debris from the slums, we are able to have a cleaner palette, and we could create something different, like build a new building. So we're like purging our energy field and when we heal, and it allows more space for us to be more present, more authentic, and have more inner peace. The other thing that's important too, the outward reflection, healing often involves developing healthier coping mechanisms, communication skills, and relationship patterns. As we implement these changes, others may notice and appreciate the positive shifts in our behavior and attitudes, inspiring them to do the same. So, when it's like leading by example, sometimes you don't have to preach to somebody else, well, I'm changing this. By you just showing up who you are and with the changes that you've had made on the interior, no words need to be exchanged. It's about allowing the essence to move forward to allow us to just be right where we need to be. Okay. And that led into leading by example. So the most important things are to prioritize your self care, your self love, and self improvement so that you could be a role model not only to others but to yourself as well, okay, because it all starts with self first. So we've talked a lot about self-compassion, and for those of us who are perfectionists or are very hard on ourselves, that are beat ourselves up, don't think we're good enough, aren't worthy enough, it's time to shift that and pivot and change it. And this is only can be done by your willingness to want to do so. So when we come back, we're going to wrap it up and talk more about our next show. So one last pause here. I'm just having this hiccup moment. Um, just important just to be yourself. Okay. Allow yourself to be who you are. So you've been listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And when we return, we will talk more about self-compassion and creating compassion. Stay tuned.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. You're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we have been talking about cultivating compassion as one of the second aspect of our five-part series, Becoming Your Own Best Friend. We talked about authenticity last time, and we're talking about self-compassion this time. And just to, highlight the most important things from today's episode, I feel the takeaways really are just for you to cut yourself some slack, be kind to yourself, realize that we're all on our journey and we are doing the best we can. And when we are aware, then we could shift things. And it starts with us first. Everything starts with us first. The other important thing is when we shift and change ourselves, it's an inward job, okay? And the benefits are witnessing the outward manifestation of our inner creations. So I invite you to shift and make those changes because your essence is going to become so yummy and delicious that people are going to want to be around you. They're not going to know why. They'll probably just say, she's just nice to be around, or he's nice to be around. I feel comfortable. I feel at peace. He's got this essence about him that is very comforting. That's important. And then lastly, the last takeaway, it's just to remember that we're all on a journey here. Be patient with yourself. We've come to the planet Earth to get a PhD in becoming human. It's not an easy task. Nobody came with a manual on how to function here. We are all exploring and learning leaps and bounds. Continue to be teachable and allow yourself the grace to experience things very deeply. So that's a wrap on this week's, but next week we're into more of becoming your own best friend, and it's about nurturing inner strength. A lot of us have gotten beat to a pulp in recent times, and you just wonder sometimes where my resilience is, or where is it coming from, or how am I going to be able to move forward and make a difference and just cut through all the uncertainty tape and whatever that is. So let me just read more about this here so you have an idea what we're going to be up to next time. Today, our third episode, Address Nurturing Inner Strength, we delve deeper into the concept of nurturing inner strength to navigate life challenges with grace and resilience. I'm all about grace and resilience. Come join us on this profound exploration of self-discovery and empowerment. Becoming Your Own Best Friend, a self-discovery series, is not just a journey, it's a revolution in the way we perceive ourselves and our relationship with the world. I'm going to guide you on a journey of self-exploration, emphasizing the importance of cultivating strong inner foundation to withstand adversity. Drawing from my wealth of knowledge of experience as a holistic healer and life coach, I will offer you practical tools, insights, and empower you to your quest for resilience. And I like doing a meditation in these 5-part series because I feel like it's a way of kind of connecting the dots, but also a way for the information to get integrated within each individual and the individual owning it at a deeper level to allow it to really sink in and become part of who they are. That's like a mindful activity. And that's an example of a mindful activity, a guided meditation. When you're able to embrace something in another sense, or if you want to call it another dimension, I believe it sets a real strong foundational piece that allows you to really anchor the information so it becomes more of your own repertoire and more of your essence and being. By embracing a vulnerability and practicing self-compassion and cultivating a positive mindset, listeners are empowered to face life challenges with resilience and grace. So join us next time on episode 3 on Becoming Your Own Best Friend self-discovery series, and we're going to talk about nurturing inner strength. So as we are wrapping up here, lots is happening here on in the world. We're going through a major eclipse right now. And eclipses are very interesting because they allow you to go to a deeper part of yourself, to do an archaeological dig, believe it or not. There might be things that pop up in your space during this time period. And or maybe you get, you're very sensitive to energy and you feel the shifts of what's happening and you're getting really irritable and maybe even angry because we're in Aries. So, things that are triggering you and you become, maybe a little volatile or rageful, just pay attention to those things because those triggers are actually gifts. They're gifts that are going to allow you to go on a deeper aspect of yourself because the periphery usually has nothing to do with the deeper seated issue that's happening. It's just what I call a theme and variation, but it's gotten your attention. So if things are getting your attention, you're being triggered, this is a very good time to go and give yourself the gift of going deeper so you could really heal these things up and release them. Eclipse energies are really good for that, especially if you're moving through times where you just need to um, get unstuck. There might be some stuck, resistant things that are in your space, and this is the opportune time for it to come to the surface and you to deal with it if you choose to. If you don't, well, it's still going to be there and it's still going to be running the show. So the choice is yours. And you're the only one that can make that change for yourself. So you've been listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And I'm just want to remind you just to be kind to yourself. Love yourself, appreciate yourself because you are worth it. Believe me, you are worth it more than you could imagine. I love you. Be well and see you next time. Yay! Bye now.
Thank you for listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. Dr. Dolores returns Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, remember to be kind to yourself and create your best life. You are worth it.